your host, Ken Breeze, Burling's Beard. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you're on Twitch or on YouTube, we really love that you're here. Please throw us a subscribe or a like or a comment. We'd really appreciate it. We are playing Secrets of Hammerfast, a D&D 5th edition game. This is our 10th episode. We're super, super excited to be here gaming with all of you. So shout us out on Twitch, excuse me, or just be in contact. We love having our fellow players contact us over the interwebs. I will now turn it over to our amazing players so that they can introduce their characters. First, we have Kelsey playing Callie. What can you tell us about Callie, please, Kelsey?
Hey, so Callie is a halfling rogue. She grew up kind of in the streets and had to learn the rough life. So she earned money playing, like doing card tricks and things, and now uses playing cards as her main weapon. Really good throw. And she also has acquired an animal companion who's a teacup pig named Rimpleton, and he goes with her everywhere. And he has a mind of his own. He wants a crown.
He sure does.
We're trying to get him a crown. That's on the menu, so we'll see.
That pig needs a crown. That's for sure.
He deserves one.
Next, we have Anthony playing Alaron. Anthony, hello. What can you tell us about Alaron?
Alaron is a half-elf male. He grew up in a monastery, and there he learned martial and scholastic training. He then went on to use his skill to become an adventurer. Currently is adorned in chainmail, carries a shield, and has a skinny rapier by his side. On his head is a helm, shiny, that reflects back like a mirror, like that, over his face.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you guys did some great art last time. We have our awesome fan, Never Fate, with us tonight on the chat. He's telling us, that our volume levels might need to change a little bit, but it sounds like we're fixing that. Thanks, Tommy, for that feedback. Really appreciate it. Next, we have Pat playing Snorri. Woo woo
Yeah. Welcome, Snorri Hamfist. Snorri is a ghost. Snorri is also a dwarf wizard. From the School of Divination. Snorri is fascinated by what makes the world work. He finds the world very beautiful and just the constructs of the world and now of his own ghostly form.
Yes.
I will be happy to report that I have not had any existential crises about being a ghost.
Yeah, last week you literally woke up like from a dream worrying about how the second death might work for Snorri, which is good. That's good.
Yeah.
We like that.
In my life, more existential dread.
Yeah, more existential dread and anxiety. Exactly. That's what we want. And last but certainly not least, we have a new player joining us tonight. We have Zach playing Yarrow. Zach, what can you tell us about Yarrow?
So Yarrow Blackhammer is a dwarf who has been working as a member of the city guard for a long time in Hammerfast, and he recently became one of the personal bodyguards of Master Sage Glitterdark, and he's found himself in a bit of a pickle. He's kind of a ugly guy with black beard and kind of white streaks through it, and just kind of powerfully ugly, as you guys will get a chance to meet. But I think he's kind of pragmatic and he means well.
That's great. And what kind of arms and armor does Yarrow Blackhammer normally carry?
Well, he normally carries a targe as well as a warhammer in either hand, and on top of that, he is usually coated in black ring mail, who bears the coat of arms of the city of Hammerfast.
Yes, exactly. Very cool. Last time, Secrets of Hammerfast, our group of heroes had made their way underneath a lake called the Glimmer Lake. They had been in search of Master Sage Glitterdark, and they had heard that he had traveled to a castle under the lake, a castle of the Fae known legend as Sparkly Town Delight. And so our heroes had made their way there. That Sparkly Town Delight Castle had been overrun by Trout Folk, and that these Trout Folk were being led by a ruler who goes by the name of the Trout Queen. They had entered the castle through a ruined tower and found a number of oddities in those ruins. But they realized very quickly that they were going to need to make their way deeper into the castle itself. And so they started to unearth the entryway into the castle proper. As you can see by the ground level, the map that we're looking at, we are on the ground level of the castle. Our stalwart heroes have been digging themselves out of this tower, Tower E, if you will. It is a tower of mystery, a tower of ancient sort of ritual. They have gleaned a few things about the larger sort of settlement, if you will, that used to make its home here. And as you've been uncovering the rocks and the debris, you all climbed up to the top, basically, of this pile of debris. So you're right at the top of the entryway. It's an arched entryway. You've been removing rocks. It's been about a half an hour that you've been removing rocks, Callie and Alaron. Snorri went out to scout and then returned, telling you that there were Trout Folk around and that they had some sort of preternatural ability to see Snorri, the ghost, even while he was in the ethereal plane, his most sort of cloaked method of travel. Indeed, these Trout Folk are very surprising. You don't know what their abilities may or may not be. They seem to be barbaric. They definitely don't seem like they created this castle. It seems as if they have conquered it or taken it over in the past recently. You also all know that there is a certain tower that is protected, or rather encircled by Trout Folk and the sharks that they command. And you believe that maybe there's some sort of leftover denizen of the Fae who lived in this castle before it sunk underneath the Glitter Lake. As you're removing the rocks, you've uncovered a lintel, a sort of a stone or a sort of a that has been etched with words, with letters. It's on the top of the sort of the archway, and you've uncovered it as you've been sort of making your way quietly, carefully towards an exit out of this place. The lintel has words on it, letters, as I mentioned, and you can all read them very clearly. Those of you who speak Elven realize that this is the Elven name for this castle. It is not, it's translated to Sparkly Town Delight, but on the lintel itself, it reads Id-Othrond Mel, and that Alaron, for sure, with your Elven heritage, you realize very clearly that this is the Elven name of this place. It is a High Elven that is being used, almost connected to the Fey courts of the Fey Wild. But you all are definitely able to recognize the words, at least, and able to say them. They do translate roughly into the common tongue as Sparkly Town Delight, but obviously the elves called it something different. As you have been uncovering these stones very carefully and quietly so that you can see out into the courtyard that Snorri has described for you. You can all see, Callie, Alaron, and Snorri, that there is sort of a struggle going on. Where the D is on the map, you can see it looks like there are a number of trout folk. It looks like that there are 6 of them that are muscling a dwarf with a dark black beard. They are muscling him. He seems to be in a seaweed sort of bonds. He has no armor or weapons on. It looks like he's been beaten very severely. It also looks like he's wearing a pendant of some kind with an amulet, a pendant of some kind that he's wearing on a necklace. Yarrow, what's happening? What's going on?
These fishy bastards are trying to move me, and let me just tell you right now, Yarrow Blackhammer won't be moved. And
Indeed, I would love for you to make a strength check, Yarrow.
okay, and that's a 7.
Nice. Apparently, Yarrow Blackhammer can be moved as he's being pushed by these trout folk. If you remember, the trout folk themselves are very squat beings. They have sort of very scaly skin. They don't really have necks. They just have like sort of wedge-like heads that come out of their torsos. They are shorter, even though they are medium-sized. They are clad in different types of breastplate or arm sort of plate that is all made out of repurposed crab carapace and crab shell. Many of them that you see now, in fact, all of them are carrying spears and shields that seem to be made out of crab shell, though the shields have a weird sort of wet looking property to them. They look very damp for whatever reason. Just like the trout folk skin. It's very damp, very sort of shiny, scaly, and they are muscling this dwarf man basically towards this direction, as if they're sort of moving him, for lack of a better term, to the west of your location. And so that's what you guys can see. You have secretly and quietly cleared out a path that is sized for medium creatures or small creatures to exit this tower. Alaron and Callie, you are sort of on your bellies on this pile of rubble, looking out from the hole you have created. Snorri, you are in your ghost form, obviously, and sort of floating behind them. Yarrow, you are with these trout folk as they are very slowly and laboriously trying to shove you towards what you know to be the demesnes of the trout queen. They're taking you back to the barracks where you've seen your fellow dwarves consumed by trout folk.
You bastards, you think you're gonna have done with me this easy? Oh, I'm gonna fight you every step.
And they simply whack you on the head and shoulders with their spear. They don't seem to understand what you're saying. They're going blah, 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 blah. They're sort of cursing you is what you're getting, but you don't really understand what they're saying at all. Callie, what are you doing at this point?
Gonna slip a playing card out, look at Alaron and be like, is this a bad idea? And just throw it right at one of the guys.
Nice. Make a attack roll with advantage. You are hidden as you flick a card at one of them.
I got,
energized.
Even with advantage, I got a 14.
14 is
15.
a success.
Oh, okay. Yay! I did my math bad. I got a 15.
Please roll your damage and add sneak attack.
That would be a 4, 7, 12.
12 total. Awesome. As you strike into the chest of one of them, it basically cuts right through their shitty sort of crab armor, and you see this sort of bluish ichor basically explode from their chest as you have immediately bloodied one of these creatures. all of us should at this point roll initiative.
Excellent. 10 for me.
10.
I got a 20.
Nice.
20 twin.
Yeah.
Nice, Callie.
11. 11.
11.
I'm gonna reconnect quick.
And Snorri, what'd you get?
I got a 1.
A
I
1.
am off to a good start.
Nice. Yeah.
The bad rolls out of the way.
You're a little surprised by what's going on. Callie definitely took her surprise round and threw right at one of the trout folk. As I mentioned, there are 6 of them. You have definitely hit one right in the chest, Callie, and bloodied them. All of the trout folk are sort of looking with their googly eyes, which are on each side of their sort of wedge-like head. They're sort of turning their faces and just going blah, 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 blah. They're just like super surprised by what's happening. They all turn to their wounded comrade, not paying any attention to you or Alaron or Snorri, where you are in this entryway hidden. And you get to go again immediately, Callie. What would you like to do?
Ooh, I'm gonna
Bloodied one of them.
follow that up with a second playing card on the bloodied guy.
Go make your attack,
He's
please.
going.
You will not have advantage on this roll, as they all sort of are looking sort of where you are.
Got it. So I will roll once. Oh, I got a 16.
That's a
And
success. How much damage do you do?
that is 9 damage.
Please describe for us how you defeat this creature.
Ooh, the 2 cards go flying through space, and one cuts like right into his face, and the other one right into the back of his head, and it goes all the way through.
Yeah, and that trout folk just collapses as all of them are sort of going nuts. It's at this point that they definitely are all paying attention now to this entryway to the tower. They all realize very clearly where these deadly projectiles are coming from. There are 5 of them left. 2 of them stick with Yarrow, basically trying to hold him with their free hands. They have a shield in one hand and they're holding him with their other free hand. The others have shields and spears as they are sort of rushing towards your location. They are able to get to you two, Callie and Alaron, but only one of them, or rather 2 of them, are able to sort of fill up this sort of hole you've made. They aren't, and they're trying to stab you with their spears. And so, Callie, it will be a miss versus you with an armor class of 5, and it will be a miss versus you, Alaron, with an armor class of 6, as their spear thrusts are just at a wrong angle, and they can't really even get them into the opening that you've created. But the 3 of them are definitely now there in front of you, whereas 2 of them are left over with Yarrow. It is your turn, Alaron. What would you like to do?
I'm going to go on my waist and get my light crossbow, flip it around, and take a shot at one of these fishermen. Before
Go
I
ahead
do,
and make
though,
your attack.
before I do, though, could I understand any of the things that they were saying while my helmet was
Yeah.
activated?
It's been about a half an hour since your helmet was activated, so the magic has run out. It's run its course at this point. You'll have to activate it again as an action at some point, but at this point, it's not active, so you know you cannot understand them.
Okay, I roll an 8, so I'm going to assume that's a miss.
That is a miss, and unfortunately, because you're firing into someone who's directly adjacent to you, you're actually at disadvantage. So you should actually roll again and take the lower of the 2. But
8 is the lower of the 2.
it's still not. As you and they throw their second off their shield. Anything else you want to do on your turn, Alaron?
I'm going to activate my helmet.
You activate your helmet. That is an action. So you already used your action to attack. So you have a move action and a bonus action, a reaction, if you want to do anything like that.
I'm going to stand my ground.
Cool. You stand your ground.
Actually, I'm gonna take out my rapier.
Yeah, you pull out your rapier. Yarrow, it's your turn. You are being grappled by these 2 trout folk at this point. What would you like to do?
I am actually going to. Now, Yarrow has been subjected to torture for some time, and I think what I would like to do is see if I can use the situation to my advantage, break the grapple, and try to choke one with my seaweed bonds.
Go ahead and make your strength check to try and break the grapple.
Okay, and that's a natural 20.
Whoa! Awesome.
First one, all right.
First roll, natural 20. Amazing. Yeah, you just shrug both of them off, basically. Like it's almost like you were waiting for this moment, and you just use your power of your shoulders and your arms to just shrug both of them off very easily.
Yeah. And the first thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, what are you gonna say?
I was going to say you can definitely make a grapple attack on one of the two if you wish to do that.
I will definitely do that. And,
Go ahead and make your strength.
Okay, let's try again. Not much better. That much less bad. Much less good. That was an 8.
8 is a success. I rolled a 3. So
Really?
you have definitely thrown your bonds around one of them, and you're like basically grappling, almost trying to like garrote them, like choke them at this point.
I was like, talk fishy to me now, you bastards.
And they're like, awesome. Snorri, it's your turn. And just to let you know, we can't see you on roll 20. You might want to reconnect, but it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, so my Wi-Fi has been a little funky. I don't know if I'm late on this.
Okay.
Can you
No
hear
problem.
me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you just fine.
Great. Snorri is going to turn around and look into the E. And I would like to know if Jeff is in there and can see me.
Great question. Jeff has retreated into the crab statue. So he is not, is not really interacting with any of you at this point.
Okay.
But you do remember that Jeff, for whatever reason, was not paying attention to you at all and interacting with it.
Yeah. I just wanted to know how my friend was doing. Is one bloody? Is there one that looks injured to me?
None of them are injured. There's a dead one on the ground. One of them is being grappled currently by this dwarf that you don't know, this black-bearded dwarf. The black-bearded dwarf does not have any weapons or armor. They seem to be a prisoner of some type. They obviously look like they are bloodied, like they've been beaten and tortured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to swim up to the or float up to the one that's currently grappled and cast Hideous Laughter on it.
Nice. Yeah, you just float right through the wall of the tower, and you sort of float over to Yarrow. Yarrow, how do you react to this ghost dwarf coming out of the tower?
I think that my concentration is completely on the Trout Folk, and then I kind of turn up, and I'm just completely fascinated. I think more than anything else, just because I think there's kind of like the moment of shock, but mostly the fascination kicks in. Yarrow's a bit of a history buff.
Indeed. And as Snorri, can you describe what your character looks like a little bit more clearly for us?
Sure. Snorri floats up like this.
Yeah. Perfect.
With his like wispy hair. And he goes to cast Hideous Laughter, but he sees Yarrow and sort of waves at his dwarven brethren.
Indeed.
I think Yarrow literally raises a pinky from the garrote.
And it's at that point that the creature that you're garroting begins to go and just sort of collapse onto the ground, just in these fits of burbling laughter that they just can't contain themselves. They've dropped their shield and their spear, or rather their shield, and they let go basically of you, Yarrow, and they're just obviously incredibly incapacitated as they are laughing in their very fishy tone. The dwarf ghost has obviously floated out of the tower and cast this spell on the Trout Folk. Callie, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Ooh, so am I directly engaged with the one that's up front right
Yes.
now?
Yes, there are
Okay.
two that are up front. Basically, one in front of you and one in front of Alaron.
Is there a way for me to throw a card? Can I like step back and try to Oh, I can't really do that. I'm gonna try to duck past this
can?
guy because I think I can move through his space since I'm small. And
Technically, you totally can.
I have
You can move
halfling
through their
nimble.
space and end up on the other side of them without provoking any attacks of opportunity.
I want to do that. I want to slip between this guy's legs and pop up behind the one behind Alaron with my dagger. I have to use it in two hands and just like come down on that guy's back.
Go ahead and make your attack. Yeah, you totally squirm between the two of them very quickly. They're trying to hit you with their spears, but you're easily able to dodge them. You bust out your dagger. You're behind the one that's in front of Alaron and just bring your dagger down, trying to plant it in its back.
Here we go. I rolled a 1, but I'm lucky, so I can re-roll it.
And re-roll your 1, please.
And I got a 15.
15's a success. Their back is to you. You can see that they're not really wearing armor themselves. They only have these armored shields and maybe an armored sort of arm plate, as it were. But the rest of them is just sort of, they're wearing leather, not even leather clothes. They're almost like naked, effectively. They're sort of just wearing these sort of like loincloths or like sort of tabards maybe over their chests. Some of them have some jewelry that might have like crab claws or like little sort of trinkets like that. Though you can definitely see that one of them has had tattooed over its eye. It looks like some sort of tortoise shell shape.
Deadly. Is that the guy in front of me? Should roll my damage. Oh, I rolled a lot. I did. Nice. That's 13, 18.
Please describe for us how you defeat this creature.
Oh gosh, okay. So I come skidding up behind it after slipping through their legs, and I'm kind of like covered in slime. So I slide a little bit right into its heart with my dagger. Twist it a little bit. There we are.
And just sort of like collapses, basically. There are 2 still around you, Callie. There were 3 that had run for the tower. You've defeated 1. 2 others are now near you, and the other 2, there are 4 left. The other 2 are near Yarrow, and it is their turn. Yarrow, the one that you have garroted, is definitely attempting to break that. Go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics check, please.
Cool. 17.
That's a success. They are not able to break your just rage-filled sort of clamp down on them. The other one, though, near you, attempts to pull out a net and does, and then attempts to throw it on you. And are unsuccessful, hitting an armor class of only 6 as you sort of duck and the net goes over you. But they do then pull out their spear as well. Oh, it looks stab you, Callie. You are a killer. One of them crits you and will be doing a 8 damage to you. The other one misses you, but so basically one shoves it sort of like a sort of serrated, jagged, rock-like spear. It's almost like coral that the spear is made out of. It's jabbing right through your foot. And the other one attempts to spear you through the chest, but you're able to jump out of the way. But you do feel a lot of pain as your foot is speared. And with that, it is Alaron's turn.
I'm going to charge the nearest fishman.
Yes, there's one right in front of you. Go ahead and make your attack.
Oh, I guess I'm not charging him. I'm just going to attack him. 7.
7 is no good, unfortunately.
That's the end of my turn.
Okay. I unfortunately have lost you guys on video, but you're starting to come back now. I see you, Kelsey, fine. Just letting you know. I don't know if you guys need to reconnect or if I need to reconnect, but I see Zach, I see Pat. Anyways, just letting you know. Cool. After Aileron, it is your turn, Yarrow. What would you like to do?
So
Everything's good. I see everybody.
do I have any kind of sense of when this Trout Folk is going to choke out, or, but more importantly, so he doubled over and he dropped his spear, right?
Yes. So there are two near you. The one that's grappling with you has a spear on his back and has a net on his belt. He has a shield on his other arm, and with his other arm is basically trying to fight you off as you're trying to garrote him. You are successful in that. The other one is near you and has a shield and a spear out, and it looks like they're trying to stab you probably pretty soon here. What would you like to do?
I think that
One initiating a grapple, right? Like this person, the Trout Folk that you're trying to choke out, it will take a little while for that to happen.
okay. For the reasons of efficacy, I am going to pick up. I'm going to try to pull the. I'm going to take the opening and I'm going to pull the spear off his back, kind of twirl it around, and try to thrust it into the one attacking me.
I think that if you could just make a, I think if you make a opposed athletics check, that would be appropriate here. As they try to get on your roll.
14.
14 is totally a success. As you rip out the spear, you have it in your hand. You still have them grappled. With one hand, you're holding basically your garrote sort of around them. What would you like to do with your spear? It's tough to move, but you have sort of grabbed a spear.
Actually, you know what? Would I have any kind of advantage by taking the spear and thrusting it through the one currently grappled?
No, you would not. But you can definitely still attempt to attack them.
Absolutely. I'm going to attack I'm actually going to attack the one that threw the net at me.
Cool. Go ahead and make your attack.
That is 14 on the die. So
this is a success. How much damage do you do?
Well, with an improvised spear, I'm guessing what, 1d6?
It is not an improvised spear. It is just a spear. It is 1d6. That's correct. Actually, it's 1d6. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So 5 plus, is that dex or strength?
Strength.
Okay. So that's 8 damage.
Nice. You plunge your spear basically into the fleshy part of their upper arm. It sort of scrapes off their shield and right into that. And it just sort of goes, sort of hissing at you a little bit. And you can see that these Trout Folk, as this one opens its mouth, they have very sharp teeth, oddly enough. It looks like they want to bite your face off. Anything else you would like to do on your turn, Yarrow?
I'm going to basically pull the spear back, flourish it, and kind of brace for whatever impact comes next.
Great. Remember the creature that you had grappled